Alright, recording video from 6/5, Monday, 2017. SPY S&P 500 ETF and long-term uptrend making higher highs, higher lows. Recently has broken out to all-time highs after kind of consolidating at the all-time high. So bull market. Moving on to some trades I saw yesterday that I wanted to pull the trigger on, but being disciplined and doing what I say I'm going to do is way more important than maybe intermediately making a couple bucks. So NVIDIA setup is we're in an uptrending stock. Recent trend action is kind of like 5 days sideways. The trigger would be triggering to the all-time highs of 147. So intraday, we had relative high volume, and if you compare it on the three-day, 5-minute chart, the relative volume was high. Also, we're holding sideways above the opening range high, above the Cove level. We didn't go too far too fast. The ATR and NVIDIA can be about $8. So at sideways consolidation, holding price acceptance above the all-time high, I would enter in there and we'll stop below here. So whatever we got out of this trade wouldn't have been too much, maybe like a buck to risk a buck. So 1-to-1, but I think the setup was there. Moving on from NVIDIA to Tesla. Tesla's consumer cyclical sector, uptrending stock is the setup with a couple days overlap just at the all-time high, so 3 days. The trigger would be breaking out to 341.88, which is the all-time high. So entry in Tesla would have been the sideways consolidations anywhere in here, holding above the all-time high. Also another trigger is an intraday uptrend. We're above the opening range high. We haven't gone too far too fast. The ATR was still left in Tesla, so probably set my stop below this low. A couple and a $1.5 stop in a $350 stock. So maybe it would have exited just at the end of the day. So I marked the lines on here. Didn't really mark them on any other chart. But just that was my entries of my sideways consolidation, holding above the level. Expedia, travel website. So the big picture trend is up. The setup is that we're just kind of lack of price rejection at the all-time high. Just kind of holding it, hanging out. So if we trigger above, 147.09, that's the all-time high. Kind of had the opening range high marked here. So we get above the trigger above the all-time high, and we're in the above the Cove area, above the opening range high. Kind of tight little consolidation right here. Could have entered on, stop below the all-time high level. So you get out with winning trade. Expedia, so Expo Logistics, so it's a shipping company. Big pictures, we've been making higher highs, higher lows into the all-time highs. So recently, just kind of like tightening up in a range below the all-time high. The trigger is blasting above 55.66, which is the new all-time high. Got some volume in the background as well for the setup. We talked about the trigger, so entry. This is one of those where I wouldn't have taken this entry because it's not in my rule set, but here's a good example of what we call ABCD. So gap up, go up, immediately rules this out for me. But we did make higher highs and higher lows into the level, so just a good ABCD example for later. But we do get if we break the intraday high, I'm kind of get a little flag right here. I could have bought right in there with that would have fit my rule set for buying a flag. And also we have an intraday uptrend at that point. So ELRM, kind of similar to Expo, similar chart, tech sector. So we are not necessarily making higher highs and higher lows. It's kind of like a high level consolidation, making higher lows into an obvious level, kind of around this, this like all-time high right here. So the real all-time high is 34.43. So we closed just below that the prior day. So if we get above the prior day's high, I'm pretty much calling that like the all-time high, as long as we don't price reject as soon as we break out. So that's the setup. The trigger is breaking out there. So high level base. So we get above the opening range high marked here. Volume comes in, and we get a little flag. I would buy there with my stop below VWAP. Maybe if you hold the end of the day, you don't get so much, but you could have exited after this change of character move. That was Alarm, and then Glyk. Glyk is a penny stock, a biotech it has been in play recently, coming off basing action. It was trending previously, but then the setup is that we had kind of a change of character day on a naked gap Keltner, different wide range day, and now we've got 5 days overlapping, kind of an obvious level around 1250, 1225, 1250 level. 1230, whatever, fucking right in there. So we got to get obviously we'll make higher lows or lower highs into the level. So we're just kind of looking for a breakout either way. If we got above the past, 3 days high, I would be looking for a breakout either way. And so entry, so that's the trigger. Hello there, setup and trigger. This is a counter trend trade, so maybe not one I would be looking to trade. But I was watching this real time last night. Saw the break to low of day, and I said, okay, we're in the opening range for the pop. But as we spilled to the low of day, I was thinking, okay, prior opening range low, support becomes resistance, or I would call this a little flag where I would enter in here. My stop would have to be up above VWAP. But this would have been a pretty fucking sick trade yesterday, and would have started rocking and rolling if I would have been live. Who knows? Maybe there were no shares or short, but anyway, definitely one good trade that I saw yesterday that was cognizant of watching happen real time. So all these trades we saw that there was no, except with the exception of I believe Expo, there were no gap up go ups, there were no too far too fast or naked gaps really. So just kind of opening within ranges, breaking out. Higher level or lower level price acceptance as we're seeing. So just using my rules outside 945, outside the 15-minute opening range, either way, being a Cove H or Cove L trade, and also outside the prior 3 days range. Those are my main 3 rules. And then using any of my 3 entries of support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support. That's kind of the same entry, or a flag, or a higher level or lower level consolidation. All right, man, later.